Okay. Hi, my name's Yvonne,
Hi, this is Yasmin Rod.
Hello, I'm Thomas King.
and we are presenting the Pokemon dashboard. And before we get into the dashboard itself, I wanted to explain the steps that we took in order to create this final dashboard. We first created a data dictionary which defined what each column of the data given to us meant. And for an example, we go over to data source and we can see here the Pokemon data set. And looking at the columns, there's types, total HP, and then etc. We can say that type means what the Pokemon type is, and we will go into that later. HP would mean a health point and etc. And next, after that, we created a wireframe, which was a very rough draft of what our final dashboard would look like. And then we took inspiration from that wireframe to then create a mock-up and prototype, which is shown here. Um, and I wanted to briefly explain our stakeholder and what our overall story is trying to convey. Our stakeholders are competitive Pokemon trainers trying to assemble a strong Pokemon team and then using that team to then compete in battles, leagues, champions, etc. And then to give more background into Pokemon teams, there's usually six Pokemon in a Pokemon team. So then they can use this dashboard to help them choose their team and to overall get the Pokemon championship. And so with that, I'm going to pass it on to Yasmin.
Thank you for that explanation. If you don't mind going to the Pokemon types. Perfect, thank you. So as Yvonne explained, there were many characteristics within this Pokemon data that we had. So first we started off with dividing the Pokemon types. So as you can see, we have listed the Pokemon types here, and we were trying to find a colorblind friendly scheme that would be friendly to colorblind people. So as seen here, the darker colors mean there is a less population of that specific type of Pokemon. Fairy, for instance, has only 34, which means it's pretty rare. But as we move forward, we move into warmer colors and warmer tones. And we have water, which has the count of 122, meaning it has the highest population of Pokemons. And the reason why we decided to stick to this bar chart and format it this way and present this information is for the trainers, for the Pokemon trainers to know how rare each type of a Pokemon is and what is the likelihood of capturing that specific type of Pokemon within the game. And the colors, the reason we chose them in this order is just to make sense for the people and be easy to process and also be friendly on the eyes. Next, please. Thank you. So I am also presenting the Pokemon and their in average individual stats to you. As you have seen, we have various columns here. The first column is average attack scores. The next one is average defense. After that comes average special attack, average special defense, average speed, and average health points. And we have all the different kinds of Pokemons. And these bar charts are very specific. For instance, if you hover over to one of them, it's going to give you the exact numerical data of. Perfect, thank you. For instance, we can specifically see that the average attack is 10, average defense, it was 230, the average health point is 20, average special attack is 10, average special defense is 230, and average speed is 5. So this is the conglomerate of all the different factors that each Pokemon has. And it's going to help the player, the professional competitor, to be able to professionally and very easily and effectively compare Pokemons across different tabs and across different factors. And the reason they're right next to one another is for the ease of being able to transition them and compare and contrast between each type of Pokemon.
And one more thing, I would like to add that if you were looking for a strongest average of type Pokemon, you can also sort it. So you can see by descending order, Mega Mewtwo X would have the strongest average attack. But we wouldn't say the same thing about who has the strongest average defense, because then it would be Shuckle. So you can just play around with this basically and just see who has the strongest what and just the overall stats.
So these are move types and their average damage. So first things first, we need to divide between two categories here. We have physical and special. And then on the x-axis, we have all the different types of Pokemon. And on the y-axis, that's their average power level. So as you can see, the highest power level right now is fire, at least on the physical scale. And then dragon is on the special scale in terms of MP. So there's a little bit of a difference between like physical and MP. MP attacks are generally much stronger, but they consume a lot more magical ability or whatever it's called, magical power. I think that's what it's called. While physical uses basic attacks. MP has a short set of skills that you can only use a limited amount of time before it completely runs out. But that's why it's so strong, because it's good to consider that MP attacks are limited. So you have to, when you're dueling an opponent or facing off a trainer, you have to consider the resources that you have. But with physical, it's more spammable and it's a little bit more reliable, as they contain the same fixed amount of move sets, so they just never run out. In terms of average power, they're all generally pretty linear. Although it's a little bit difficult to differentiate between a little bit of the different types because they're all really color coded, but that's fine. A person might prefer more special attacks versus physical attacks. That might be a thing as well. This chart is really only good if there is a new these charts are only really good if you're considering going against grabbing two neutral Pokemon. So let's say this Pokemon, the other Pokemon, they don't have a strong or weakness effect to each other, and so it truly neutralizes, right? So it's good if we're talking about if it's two neutral Pokemon battling out against each other. Next chart, please. So this chart is a little bit more different. Types and their average individual stats. So the first one covered the average damage types according to their type, but this one covers the average stats between each Pokemon. And so as you can see, that Psychic has a pretty good amount of common stats. You can see all the stats there, but if you highlight over that, they're all differentiated again. It's important to note that when you're building a Pokemon team according to these stats, it's better to build around Pokemon that counters the opponent's trainers. So you just don't want to put all physical into like your Pokemon sets. Otherwise, your opponent will say, "Hey, maybe I can counter that with like whatever counters Psychic," right? And then that ruins your entire game. So it's good to take into consideration those factors. The size of the Pokemon is according to their average stats, like so. I think Bug has the lowest out of the common stats right there. Yeah.
Okay, and with that, we'd like to thank you for watching our dashboard presentation, and we hope you enjoy interacting with our dashboard and playing around with it, and overall gain a better understanding of Pokemon in general. Thank you.
Yeah.